Everybody knows my time now, but something about the quiet feels strange. Like looking in a mirror, trying to steady your breath and see in the shadow of death.
And everything is slowing down now.
It feels like all my days have changed.
Thought that when I'm older I would have more time, but I'm crossing the line.
What if you lived it all, but now the curtains are going fall? Maybe then you could show me how.
'Cause I've seen everything, but the clock is ticking, and this is my finale, my finale, finale, my finale.
Everybody knows my past now, like a story that was written to last.
I love the Asian style home of glass.
Used to run the fastest lane, now with a fire that can never be tamed.
Living wild, living fast, living way too loud.
But the engine finally slowed its pace,
and I'm letting go of the frantic chase.
I've spilled my heart, I bled it dry.
No regrets left under this fading sky. What if you lived it all, but now the curtains fall? Maybe then you know me.
'Cause I've seen
everything, but the clock is ticking, and this is my finale, my finale, finale, my finale.
in real, yeah, show my path.
And maybe this is just the price you pay for the breaths that you take till they fade.
And everybody see me fade.
What is going on? Good morning, good morning. I see Sarah's in the house, Fallen Center is in there. Let's get a sound check also. Good morning, good morning. It's been an emotional 2 days. What is going on? All right, so subject today is going to be the cheap Charlie. And of course, I can't help myself but talk about myself a little bit as we get going. But we'll be covering the cheap Charlie because there seems to be a confusion. Being a cheap Charlie and living here in the 90s, early 2000s, you would say, okay, it's cheap here and cheap Charlie will survive. But it seems to be on Facebook and other groups and talking with people, they kind of are confused what a cheap Charlie is. And honestly, it just brings me to the subject of talking about, is the Philippines still cheap? So are your budgets going to make it? And what's going on? So it's like, oh, you're just talking about cheap Charlie's, not much of a topic. Actually, I feel it is, because it just links back to, if you guys are coming here to live on a $700 budget because you don't have the money, and I get trying to do a bargain, or you don't want to pay for something, like I'll see a price of something in the market or at the store or what they're charging at the restaurants. I'm like, yeah, I'm not paying it. So yeah, of course. And also I'm on a budget and I don't like paying high prices, especially being here in the Philippines. So they put the labels on the expats. And so there was a whole topic on it. And most of the people, the consensus is it's no longer cheaper in the Philippines. So somebody just being cheap and not having the money is also different things. So that will be today's topic for sure. Did I say hi to Sarah, Fallen Center? Rob is in the house. So, like I said, let me get a sound check and give it a minute here. And I will tell you guys about our insurance boggle predicament situation. So we're back to ground zero. So good morning, Fallen Center. Hey, what's going on? Good morning. And let's see, semi busy day today. It depends on when George wakes up. He was up earlier and then he lay back down. He's crashed out. Um, but we're supposed to have like once or twice a month, we have things from the wholesale club because, like, we have a water filter in the house, but we have bottled water. So we have that delivered, the cat litter. George picked up cat food yesterday, but the exchange rate was really decent. We came up by like 40 extra dollars because of the exchange. So we were ahead. Yay, me. So it was a busy day, and today will be like deliveries. So, of course, these are always the reasons I start early. But I feel better than I've had in a few days. You have your good days and your bad days. I'm doing much better. With the decision of what we've discovered in the last 48 hours, I had told you guys that our plan was to see about Phil Health or another type of insurance again, and I'm just not insurable at this point. And I'm not going to lie, because some don't even require physicals and then try to file something later because they'll either find out about it because I've got records here now. I don't know, but I'm not going to lie to them. So, Phil Health actually had told us in talking with George and everything. I don't know, there's like a confusion with the English, but they either thought he was the one being covered, which could be because in the conversations we've discussed him being on there, because it used to be if your Filipino was not and the expat did, I guess a long time ago you could add him, but I guess you have to have separate policy. So whatever it is, they said they do cover heart conditions, and they do. Yeah, small things. They don't cover the stents. They won't cover if I need the CABG, an open heart surgery, which I feel we're 50-50 because the heart doctor that I'm seeing said that that's the first thing he said is you're looking at open heart surgery. So when stents have been discussed, until we get the angiogram, um, when I get better and enter the hospital, then we won't know which it is. So we cannot get the insurance. So now, when I thought I could enter in the next few days into the hospital and wait for activity of the Phil Health, it won't happen. So it was the one thing that I thought I had. So George updated the description to say that all funds coming into the YouTube or any money that's been coming in since uh, January, then it's just going into a fund. When we get somewhere between 20 and 30,000, because Mike had stents. And good morning to Mike, our Philippine journey, and a big shout out to him. He made contact with us and had a full discussion about, like, when we were on his channel the other day. There was an incident, but he said he took care of it, and I appreciate him doing that. So, but a good morning to him. His daughter's coming in town. He's been extremely busy, but when he had his stints, it was a million, and his had complications, but not like mine, not with the lupus, and now the bite has turned into an open ulcer. So we're fighting infection, antibiotics. I'm on steroids. So somewhere between 1 and 2 million, it could be up to 40,000. So we will continue to save, and I will continue to fight. It's been rough. I'm still leaking fluid out of my legs. Went to the bank yesterday. All I could do is let it run into my. I wear like the Crocs, the Asian Crocs. I can't afford full Crocs just for the heck of it, but it's not like a flood. But if I sit here long enough and have the towel under me, it gets wet, and my bed's been getting wet. So it's I got like a comforter and a towel in bed every night, and it gets soaked. So, um, but that's only because my heart is fighting to pump. So, there's been more questions and people contacting me about the oxygen. You say you're only on it so many hours a day and this, and that. And when I personally looked into it a little bit more, I had questions too. So I don't see the pulmonary doctor for another few weeks. So on my oxygen, I should really be on it, which I am quite a bit throughout the day, when my oxygen drops. So my oxygen sometimes is at 88, 90, 93, 94, but then it does go up. So you don't stay on oxygen when your oxygen is like at 96, 97, 98. because I take it off and go around and do things and go back and check and it's fine. So I am on oxygen most of the day, but I don't have to be on it all the time. But what it is that my body, which are two different things, your lungs being oxygen deprived. I don't know how many of you know this. When your lungs are oxygen deprived, that is one thing. But when your blood is oxygen deprived from your heart not pumping enough blood through your heart, and I'm not a heart specialist, it explained that that is something different. It's why I'm tired. It's the good reason why well, the fluid overloads multiple things, but I'm so tired and I cramp, my body cramps. It stiffens up where I almost fall all the time. I have a cane that I use and a walker, and it's why just a few hours into the day I'm laying back down. So it's because of this. You guys have no idea how bad it is to breathe, and the fluid in my stomach and legs and body makes it hard to breathe. It doesn't change the fact that I feel like I'm gasping for air, and the specialist said I can use the oxygen based on this, but I cannot do without it totally. So it's two different things, but overall, I had a pretty good day yesterday, and I feel pretty good this morning. I think it's a matter of rest and fluid, the proper fluid, and I don't overdo it. So, but that's the plan right now: is either a miracle or just to keep saving the YouTube money and support, as we were always getting. Also, we've reached out to some congressmen in America. We still continue to reach out to Rafi, which is a long shot. Excuse me, a long shot. Also, I don't know if you guys know, but there is a bill in to bring Medicare here. There are entire groups and offices and companies that are fighting to bring Medicare to the Philippines, because if I go back home, sitting there for what I have to do could be, as I'm to understand, could be 200-300,000 US dollars to the Medicare system. If I have it done here, it's probably going to be 40,000. So there are over 45,000 Americans here, and if they allow them to use their Medicare, I'm not going to use it to fill medications, not that I'm aware of or to be covered. But if they would just let me go to Medical Center Clark, which is one of the approved places they plan to use, then I can just get the surgery and I won't die. So I'm like, hello, George, let's reach out to them. And George's like, yeah, why not? So we did write two of the congressmen they're lobbying the bill or something. Hey, if it's better than no chance at all. So, um, this is a pretty elaborate scheme and scam if I would go this far to actually, research, do, or whatever. It's funny, we still have the doubters, but I'm going to keep going. So I wanted to put that in here in the beginning, what's going on, to update everybody. And thank you for everybody's help. I've been thanking the world heavily. I am very grateful. It helps pay for my current meds. It helps where we bought the other equipment, the hospital bed. And my heart goes out to all kinds of people that have this condition. And also, some of um, Ace Bachelor, and we've watched him for years. His son, I just seen it today. It's the first time I watched his video on his son. He also just had open heart surgery and he was born with a bad heart. So my heart goes out. I was like, my God, the kid looks like him. And then I was like, my God, that's horrible. So you just never think about your heart until it actually happens. So, and some don't deal with a whole lot of it until the very end when they're just absolutely aged out. So Rob is saying good morning. Yeah, I let myself in there. You know what I can see? You guys probably can't see it. The kitten just put her hand on my face and put one single puncture in my nose. I was like, holy shit, another cat scratch. But she didn't mean to. It was time to clip her nails. And she just went like that real quick because she's afraid of my mustache trimmer. I call my mustache trimmer, although this continues to make a dark line, my lady stash from my steroids. When it goes off, she was doing this crap to it, and she freaks out. This small, I call her Ben or Beignet, the little Siamese, and she scratched the crap out of my nose. I mean, a lot of people should be able to at least use their credit cards to not be in debt to a Filipino. I know in Manila, I could tap to pay. I think the system was called Maya. Yeah, there's a pay Maya and everything. Yeah. Yes, guys. Thank you for the likes and the comments. The more you guys comment anything as I'm talking, sends the algorithm going, and then other people will see. They'll either come in and troll. Thank you, trolls, and thank you, everybody who loves me. And thank you to my regular followers. And I would be sitting here gabbing even if I didn't. So I told you guys we've been receiving stuff from trolls. And by the way, right after that live didn't disappoint that within about an hour we got another letter of the person pretending to be my ex-husband, and I'm like, dude, it's like hilarious. So of course we just see the first line and it gives it away. They're naming themselves as my ex, and it's like, yep, click. So deleted. Some we read, or George does. He just opens them up because he's going through the emails. But mostly when we can see that they're faking something or no pictures. But, anyways, didn't disappoint on the trolls. But then again, without them, I guess we're nothing either. So they just love me. Sounds good. Okay, yeah, we ain't got George here with the sticky little fingers doing this all over the mic. Like he grabs all over the mic and he keeps hitting the wires, and unfortunately I guess it's a week old system like me. Good morning, Slick Rick. Good morning, good morning. But yeah, hey, good morning. Brian is in the house. Philly in the Philippines is in there. I hope you're feeling better. I see you had your accident and everything, and I'll tell you what, even if you get slightly bumped on a bike or in a car or something, you're hurting. So it's, I imagine. Good morning, Alicia. Good morning. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs is in the house. Did I say hi to you? I'm skipping through stuff. Hey, hey. Good evening to you from NYC. Probably skipped over to say hi to Philly because I was thinking about his accident. Good morning to you. Let's see. I believe it's just Alicia, but I know one thing in the cheap Charlie scenario, some of them get cheap and they don't even bring money. So, the one thing that I'm grateful for right now, and it doesn't matter if, a lot of people, the biggest thing the trolls have been going on about is I'm still alive. And what a disappointment, huh? I'm just as surprised as you, but understand as I'm being told this, I'm being given medicines. I'm also cutting out on sugar and what fast food I was eating, and I am resting. Like I am not pushing myself all day from morning to night to do stuff. And I don't go out and do a lot of outings in the heat anymore. And so there is a difference in my life. Just because I live doesn't mean that I'm not sick. And so I am grateful that I'm still here. I have had a different look at life. Of course, when you're sitting here this bad off, you reflect on everything. I'm reflecting on every bit of karma, whether people believe it's the YouTube or whether like me, I believe it's anything I could have done in life. I'm reflecting like a mofo right now because I wasn't a perfect daughter or a mother and a lot of different things. And so it's a real eye opener. But what I am grateful for, and I knew I would have been hit by it in the US, was George having to work every day of the week like he used to. And our money together wasn't that bad. And we were doing okay. The situation is if we continued to live there after the pandemic, it would have totally changed. And it's like, it really is expensive to live there now. So we would be struggling. My whole life has been struggling, dudes. Never claimed to be rich. So it was always working and paying bills. Yes, we could afford to do vacation. Yes, we could afford to go camping, but it's not like we were smancy or something. So just basics. And now here, I can afford things to an extent. I can't afford a big ticket item, but my electric's paid. My rent is paid. If I need to order something for the cats or they're sick, we can do that. If I got to get my medicine, then we can do this. It's the basics that we can afford that I just went to the bank. It's like I'm like, Jesus, my mother, as she died, was struggling for toilet paper. That's where it was. And I never, like I said, claimed to come from a rich family. As my mother died, she was getting food stamps. She was on Social Security and living in Clearwater, Florida. And I'm telling you, what by the time she paid her rent, electricity, I think they gave her like $80 in groceries. And that included my brother due to her income. And that sucked. Like she would call me and say, "Hey, I'm missing this, this, and that." And I'd come over, but I wish I'd have spent more time with her. But it's a struggle out there. And so I'm like, shit, she had to worry to the day she died of heart issues and cancer. And she had a couple bad valves that went bad, and she had them replaced. Um, so, and she passed away at 50. And it's extremely disturbing to think, the difference that I wish my mom could have had more or had more money to do things. And I'm still grateful for that, even if I can't make it home and I sit here and pass away in a few months or in a few days, at least personally, I'm happy. I just let you know that I am grateful for the friends, being with the YouTube community, and having what the resources I have right now. Every day is a blessing, people. Hey, what's going on, Colorado? Good morning to all. Hey, good morning. Pat is in the house. And there was somebody the other day during the live stream. I want to thank the person. I'm not going to call out their name, could be the real name of another YouTuber or somebody that doesn't want to be known. But if they're watching today, they had sent a substantial PayPal donation. And I want to thank that person 100%. Yeah, we had one that day. It's like this, no stickers, nothing else came through. And all of a sudden, we got one probably an hour after the live stream. So I was like, oh my God. So I was like, I was just touched. So we appreciate it. I appreciate it. Hey, good morning. Cindy's been watching our videos helps so much. She's been reposting our playlist and she's been watching through the playlist. Like some people are like, oh, I clean house and just run your playlist because it makes a difference. The more hours that come in on the channel, it kicks the algorithm, and you guys watching makes the difference. The comments makes the difference. You guys don't have to give money in supporting the channel that way because, it's where it is, but thank you. Thank you, Cindy. Hey, Ted is in the house. Good morning, Ted. Good morning. Good morning. Speaking of love and support, highly. Big hugs and love to Ted in California. That's why a lot I post off the wall stuff for the algorithm. Thanks. Morning, morning, morning to everybody. Country Roads, my own boot talk. Heidi, good morning. You like how I dipped it up this morning? Oh, I can't. The camera's in the opposite thing. I'm always thinking it's going. See, it looks like it's going that way. I'm trying to. I had it a little. Probably messed it all up. So I thought I would tuck it behind the ears. But thank you. Good evening. It's Columbus, Ohio, or Columbus, Indiana, because I'm from Columbus. So I was about 15 or 16 and went back and visited. Cold. I could not handle the cold. Couldn't handle the 50 degrees in Mexico. I about froze. George did a fire almost every night for a few months. Thought I was going to die in the mountains. That was wild because in Mexico in the mountains, not only did we have moisture, but the black and green mold, we found it behind the refrigerator and at the baseboards. George sprayed bleach and other things on it to get rid of it. And in less than a month, it was back. And sometimes I think about that now, if that contributed, or as I joke about eating the icicles, the gray ones off the back of the cars as a kid. They were nice and salty. And I used to eat those too, or the lead paint. It's hard telling, could have been my donut habit, ain't denying that either. That could be making me sick. So, but yes, there was tons of mold and it was always moist and it was cold there in the mountains. The pressure too was crazy. Reading through. Tio Chong is in the house saying hello and thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I try to do my thing. Ever so crazy, grateful, and just all over the place. Hey, hey, Tio. Reading. Okay, guys. Well, let me get a little bit into the topic. And I'm going to first show you, uh, courtesy of what triggered me. And then I'm like, well, that's kind of not what's going on. But let's bring this up. So, what we have here is what they're calling the cheap Charlie. And basically, I get they're basically listing that things are cheap in the Philippines, but they're saying that it is. It's not. So for me, this isn't what a real definition of a cheap Charlie. I get there's a 2 minute delay, so I'm probably off when I put up my fingers like that. It means the internet cut out. But the cheap Charlie, they're saying everything is cheap as F. Street food hits different, delicious, dirty, and dirt cheap. Party hard for pocket change, which is they're full of shit. If you start partying, you're going to go broke and quick and really quick. They are charging American prices at those bars now. The bar fine girls are not cheap anymore like it used to be. This is not the 90s. Island hopping on a budget, ferries and flights are cheap. Bullshit. Paradise for cheap, trying to stretch the budget. And locals are nice and they're used to it. They smile and you save money. Everybody wins. Here's my problem. That part of it is not really true. It is not cheap anymore. The restaurants, the stores, you're paying American prices. George is like, a lot of people think if they don't buy the American products that things stay cheap here. It's not true. Can you live on a budget and get by? Sure. You're going to hear a lot of YouTube channels say they live on this, they do that. And you probably could, but most of us ain't got that type of restraint. And we've been living that life, at least the base, even the poor life in America is the high life here. So they come here because, yes, it's cheap. That's what I wanted. George's family's here, his children are here, his girlfriends are here, his boyfriends are here here. And so it's like, I was like, I thought it was going to be much cheaper. George had not lived permanently in the Philippines for whatever it is. I'm off on the dates, 28 years, 29 years, whatever it was, he was gone. And so we're thinking, both of us, that it was just going to be really cheap. We're paying twice as much as we did to live in Mexico, for sure. Electricity was dirt cheap. Food was dirt cheap in Mexico a few years back. I'm sure it still is. But here it just seems like things have skyrocketed. And so if somebody's a cheap Charlie, that's something totally different than just saying life is cheap here and these guys are coming here for that reason. Because one of the comments about the cheap Charlie is they're like, yeah, it's not cheap. And I said, that's what I got out of it. It's not cheap anymore because the person's cheap. You can be cheap and come here. It's not cheap. Hence why a lot of these expats are ending up homeless. Hence why people like me more than miscalculated that my ass could get on an airplane when I'm this sick and that I could use initially the money we bought that we blew through. Now, when we say we saved 60,000 and left, that's when we left the United States. We're talking about the cost to travel. Our airplane tickets were like double and triple back then. We were setting up and bought all the furniture in here. There were some family emergencies, medical stuff came up, and things in life comes up. Period. Boom. We do not have enough money for the surgery. So your life can turn upside down really quick because you think it's cheap. Is it cheap? Yes. Not cheap enough. So adding that you're a cheap Charlie is not going to help. And the Cheap Charlie, and I'm going to read an article that was put out. The Cheap Charlie is a highly specific piece of slang used to describe a cheap, tightwater miser, particular a foreign man or a tourist who is aggressively stingy with money. That's what a Cheap Charlie is. Don't say because the Philippines is cheap, guys, that it's a Cheap Charlie situation. No, I just think they got lost. It got lost in translation. The phrase has been deep and fascinating history rooted into the military, the conflicts, the nightlife culture, and wartime. A lot of things in the Philippines are. A lot of the guys returning here are looking for the good old heydays, how cheap it was, how easy the women are. No, dude, that shit just got complicated. And the internet complicated things. I'm here to tell you that. You won't hear a lot of that. The true meaning in the Philippines of the cheap Charlie isn't just talking about a discount for a good time. It typically is used in tourist areas, bars like in Angeles City. Now it's become the new thing the last couple years that at least every vlogger here that's Angeles City or some other YouTuber that's talking to people will come up with this cheap Charlie thing. I used to hear it a lot when I first started. And it's a foreigner who just refuses to tip or they aggressively haggle. They complain about every single thing that, like the cost, and they don't want to give anything for the tips to the drivers. Freaking cat is on the shelf again. I'm up. Pew, pew. Someone who will hang out in the bars and use all the amenities. Like they'll use everything for free when they go there. They'll buy one coffee. I've seen this dude one time when we were down on Walking Street a few years ago. He just sat there nursing the same drink, a Coke that he had for hours because we were staying at the hotel there. And so we came down to eat breakfast. And so when we left and went somewhere and come back, he was still sitting, and it was the same drink. So it's just where it's at that they refuse to buy the lady drinks in the bars. This is just outright cheap Charlie situation. Now, if someone makes a decision, like I notice here lately that they overstaff in restaurants. They overstaff in, like when we had Mary Groom the other day, there were 4 guys that came. Only one guy was doing the clipping. The rest of them were just standing around and they weren't being trained. The other time they brought 2 or 3 guys. And it's like, I'm supposed to tip off all of them. They already charged the price for the cut because we had to get a new clipper guy because the other ones stopped really showing up on time or at all. They'd say, "Oh, we're coming tomorrow then." I'm like, "No, you're not. I'm done." So they're charging just as much for the haircut as they are to showing up, and they were already here in Angel City. And so it's like, whoa, that's a little excessive. And then you bring 4 guys. That's when I got cheap. I did not come here to pay that kind of money that even Filipinos won't pay. So it seems like even although it's cheaper than America, don't get me wrong, it is a lot of money in the Philippines. And so some things like you can get someone to come to the house and they'll do my foot massage, they'll do like my toenails, they go through and do all that and a massage and everything. It might be 15 bucks including just them showing up in a tip. So yeah, that's way cheaper than you could get in America. But some of them are charging double that. And it's like, yeah, no. So it just depends on what's going on. Um they're saying the origin of this goes back to Vietnam War, I guess. They said it naturally bled into the Philippine culture due to the heavy U.S. military presence here. Chief Charlie came during the U.S. Military conflict, the Vietnam War. It said that it's where they talked about all the time, as you guys know, the Victor Charlie thing. And it says in Saigon too. The local Vietnamese bar girls and street vendors and workers in Saigon picked up the fact that Americans were called Charlie. So then later, of course, it turned into cheap Charlie that didn't want to pay up or do things. And here's another thing. They feel because we're Western white, they always assume we're American. I throw them off and tell them I'm Canadian all the time just to avoid the whole political thing. I say I'm Canadian these days, and George laughs. He said, "Oh, come on." And so We're just, if we don't want to pay their full prices or anything, then we're just called cheap Charlies. So there's a whole phrase that is out here, and it's it's like, oh, so because we don't want to pay, like there are hotels here that are like $150 over on Clark, and it's like, yeah, I'm not paying that. So the, oh, she's cheap, she's an American, she can afford that. But yet the same hotel would be 300 in America. I'm aware of that. I just don't want to pay that here. So it's kind of goes all the way around on the situation for sure. Let me bring back up my little scrolly dude. Gotta love how that goes away when you play the video. So that is a subject that's been on my mind because I was thinking, oh, and the other one is when we went to the bank yesterday, the same with the cat food. I pick up the month's worth of cat food, and we got two big bags. And George, usually there's only one guy, and I don't know if they're on to us giving tips. I don't know because usually it's just George. George usually doesn't. Just buying those big bags they are grateful for. And he usually doesn't tip them when it's just me, not normally. But when I'm there, it changes. So two different guys brought the bags. Usually it's just one when I arrive. So then George wanted several hundred pesos to give him. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not. I said, why? I said, why do you need more money? And he said, nah, I got cheap. He said, because there was like two guys that brought it. And I was like, boom. I said, George, usually we have one. But yeah, I mean, even I freaked out over it. And so it's like, I guess the older I get, I guess I'm getting cheap. And it's just, I guess it's kind of where it is. So let me go in. Looks like at the bottom, it scrolled to the bottom. Looks like Bookham is in here somewhere. Good morning. And we might have already put that up there. Yeah, I think we went through that. There were a lot of ads on that playlist too. Cool. You're welcome. No, it's everything is grateful. I'm grateful that I'm here. I'm with friendly people. I'm grateful even if George is cranky half the time, and I'm just grateful because every little thing helps. Like I bursted the energy to drop the laundry, which again is less than 10, 20 feet out the door in that direction. I'm pointing this way. You guys couldn't see my hand, but in that direction. But I didn't have the strength to get up out of the bed, and I just told George, I said, well, just sit it there on the counter, and next time I get up to go to the bathroom, I'll try to stand and hang it up on the the line and put them on a hanger to dry. And he hung them up and did it anyways. And I was like, well, you didn't have to do that. So, but like, so super grateful for everything. It's just every day that I wake up, it's a blessing now. Hell yeah, we drank the water out of the hose. And let me tell you something specifically, that we are strong as kids from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And our parents or grandparents was in World War II, if I remember. I don't know if it's three guys. I get confused. So they were in those wars. Tough assing was their life. We didn't take no shit. Your mother didn't take no shit. If you talk shit, you got backhanded. This is the way I run this channel. Ain't nobody here to coddle you. The same damn things. We grew up tough. We drank out of the garden hose. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have these video games. We had that football game or them damn little loops that went through the water. You know, when you use those buttons and them little loops went up through that water, that round water thing, and you played that hoop game or the basketball game. What was it? That wasn't Nintendo. Was it Neko or Hecko or something? The football game. That's about the closest. Besides that, your parents threw your asses out of the house all day until the damn sun went down. And if you wasn't back, you got the belt. That was the bottom line. But you came back. And the weak ones that didn't survive ended up on Unsolved Mysteries. That was it. There was no in between games. That's it. You ended up on a milk carton, bitch. That was it. So, the new generation's just absolutely weak, aren't they? Eh. Hey, Bill. Good morning from Toledo City in Cebu. There he is. Book 'em. Cheap Charlies are ones that can't afford their own medical bills. Hey, yeah, well, they could at one point, or they had the health to return back. That's for sure. Remember a past video comparing food prices at the supermarket, and bananas were similar to the price in America. I could not believe it. Crazy. Yeah, they do. Right now, I'm looking at a couple dollars for 2 pounds worth of bananas, and I'm like, I don't even know how that's possible. Let me take a look what I'm about ready to pay. And I know if we go to the market, I know the last time we went to market, it was like 300 pesos. It was a bunch of bananas, and he got a couple other items. And I don't think that included the watermelon that day. I was like, why is it $5 for a small bunch of bananas and a couple apples? And I think a pear or two. It just seemed high. And it's like that's a good idea. And so some things are not cheap like America, but some things just depends on also the vendor. So if we would have went down to the main market, then maybe they'd have been slightly cheaper. They go down there and get their stuff every day and bring it on over, and you're paying for the convenience and everything. So that is the biggest thing. I want to say it was over 100 pesos for 2 pounds, because they either sell it by the kilo, which is 2 pounds, or all right. So it's 140 pesos for 1 kilo. 140, and I'll divide it by. So that's $2.37 for 2 pounds. So that'd make it $1.16, $1.18 per pound. It just seems high to pay $1.18 a pound in the Philippines when Filipinos need healthy fruits and vegetables. And it reminds me of the reason why people keep asking why so many young people are dying here, why so many people are on dialysis already, and with major heart issues. The hospital is filled with young people on dialysis and heart issues. It's crazy. And it is. It's a salty, sugary, oily, everything in the market. And I keep seeing parties. I seen the other day where they called the items healthy and it still had everything in it. Bunch of soy, and it had oil in the recipe. Just because it had vegetables in it didn't help the situation. I think because they left rice out of it, they called it healthy. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, believe me, everything's being watched now because every bit of salt, sugar, and water is a death sentence for me, beyond the death sentence. After I ran, it's all ruined, nothing cheap. Yeah, people want alternative to the dollar. Yeah, and they want to get out of the political situation. Someone had given misinformation the other day and said that we left because of Trump, and I was like, no, well, we left way before he was president and after he was the first time. So it's like had nothing to do with that. But the cost was part of it, and the pandemic was the other part. That we were like at the beginning of the pandemic, and so we knew things were going downhill as they did. And so we're like, no, we're going to take what savings we have now and go now. So it meant that we got to spend time with family. It looked really grim back then. Like, we don't know how long we have with family, or so a lot was going on. It is cheap, but prices are rising. One of my reasons I'm putting together my escape route is the atmosphere. Yeah, it's like totally upside down. People get really upset when I talk about that. I love the people and I love my country, but that is insane. That is just a circus for, the main political party to say the world is admiring them still, like the whole system, and that we're still number one. It's crazy. And then the cost, add in the cost in the immigration system. People are talking about George should assist me in going back to the Philippines or back to America. And I'm like, there's no way. Cost wise, reapplying and having him over there, and any chance they could start issues, I can't even begin to risk it. we would be doing an LDR. As soon as I can raise enough money to take care of the medical issues, it would be an LDR for a long time because I would go back with the availability because eventually, if they're only going to do stents, I'm going to need open heart surgery and I'm going to need medicine. When I get these things done, even open heart surgery, I'm still going to have congestive heart failure. I'm still going to have issues. It doesn't fix it. I'm still considered sick. Yeah, I'm always sick. But yeah, transport is making food, yes, more expensive. Yeah, the raised gas prices. Yep, so true. When I was stationed overseas, it's where the time I was called Cheap Charlie because I wouldn't buy the drinks. Yeah, you wouldn't buy her drinks. Yeah, there's like a list of what people are saying. Let me see. There were several when I re-looked it up on Facebook. There were several articles. Let me get the dang. There were several of them here. I'll read one that came up I think a few months ago. No, this was just today's the 5th, so this was 5 days ago. I've noticed that some broke guys or cheap Charlies in this group, there's lots of them. Why they're coming to Southeast Asia if you can't share something with the less fortunate natives? And I feel that way. We give to the right people, but it's harsh. Like at first, when you get here, the first few years, both of us constantly giving money. When George goes out on his own, he really is giving out the money, and it's like I'm not going to stop him situation, but you start to notice that it's sometimes the same people, especially we were doing it in our neighborhood. George says, yeah, stop doing that, they're going to keep coming around. When we were out yesterday, there was a guy with no legs, and I couldn't see he didn't have no legs because I was sitting in the back of the car, but he was in a wheelchair, and I gave him, I think, 100 pesos. He said he was heading down to get food. I believed him. And so the guy from the store came out and George came out and they were like, did you give him money? I was like, what did I do? And I was like, is he not disabled? And George goes, no, his legs are missing. And I said, okay. I said, that's good enough. That's usually who we give it to now is the elderly and people that we know that are that disabled on the streets and stuff. And if the kids are saying they're hungry, we offer to buy the food, and most of them turn us down because they're just wanting the money. Some of them are in them little cliques. But I do find that I think it's getting old that because we're here, we're supposed to give always to the Filipinos, like we're really supposed to. And I get the culture thing, but it would be the same as the Filipino going to America and doing the opposite, like where they would have to do the same thing. Like we do have a lot of unfortunate. There's millions of kids that go hungry every day in America, and it is that bad. Things are getting bad in America. So does she have the obligation to start giving all the time to every hungry person on the street? And does she? The answer is no. Probably the first thing going through their head. I know there are some, so don't get me wrong, but I know also that first thing they're thinking is Americans, I shouldn't have to help them. They should have money. The same here. When we get here, it doesn't matter if they're from Europe or wherever. Before they even open their mouth, they assume they're rich Americans. And then that's it. They're expected to give. So that expectation goes really high. And I think it turns into expat taxes, skin tax, and then it just folds into everything. And so it's where it's at. So yeah, like 147 people had made the comments. Someone's complaining. Imagine being so bored that you would do this topic. Yeah, I get it. Talking about on this guy posting about a cheap Charlie. Somebody's talking about the anti-mendici system, how you're not supposed to give out, but it's saying when you do, what it actually does, enforcing the laws. They're supposedly apprehending people and, they're patrolling, but they say the same in America too. So I can't believe somebody actually posted that. Let's see, reading. There are just as many simps and white knights as there are cheap Charlies. Yeah. I think it's like save a girl situation here because they're poor. But I don't think of it in that manner. I've said this before. I believe they think they can buy the girls. Not all of y'all, but you get my point. Some of you are thinking the same thing. They feel that they have a little bit of money and that's what they do. And some of them, that's their goal. They know their money talks. They know no matter what the girls are. George talks about it all the time. A fool and his money are easily parted, somebody says. I'm not giving my children's inheritance to some useless beggar in the Philippines. If that bothers you, feel free to call me up whenever you like, he said. uh, hey, there are some people that stick right to the situation. They ain't even playing around. And it's, at some point, you just ain't got time for the game. But when you get here, it's going to be really hard because you're going to fall into overspending because the peso looks way different. And, when they hand you 20,000 pesos and someone asks you for 200, it's like, yeah, that's cheap. But then you realize, like the other day, George bought a nacho that looked like this little teeny amount. And he was proud that he paid, it was like $4 or something. It was over 200 pesos. I said, George, that's like $4. He said, oh. I said, you didn't calculate that in your head before they handed you that, or you seen them, selling them? No. I said, that's insane. Like it had no meat on it. It had no cheese on it. And I said, shoot, when we go to that coffee shop across the street, it's like 300 pesos, but it's a whole large tray on like one of those, they call them prosciutto boards or cuttery boards or something. I call it prosciutto. I think that's when there's cheese and meat on it. I don't know. I'm not that smancy. And prosciutto, I don't know what they call those cheese plates. But it's on a big board, and there's a crap load of nacho cheese, and we've shown you guys that. And I'm like, dude. So it's just like, yeah, you got gipped or something. George's like, you know him. He's like, I'm with you, Tio. Me either. Wanted down booze. Oh, watered down booze. Yeah, at the bars. There's no, without a doubt, down there. That's what they're doing. Most definitely. Some of the bars will keep the tips if you tell the waitress to keep the change. You need to hand the tip to the waitress. We try to do that because we know some of them. George and me have, even if it's on the bill, we know the restaurant's keeping it, like the big restaurants and everything. So it's like we go ahead and pay the waitress something. Line that in the States as well. I don't want them paying taxes on tips or getting taken from them. Yeah. Does it take two guys to carry the cat food? It's not, then split what I give you. Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing too. But being George had me on the spot and stuff, and they were right behind him, I felt weird saying, no, don't do it. I was like, shit. So it's just like, he was like, I need more because I handed him 100. We usually do 100 pesos, and I think 100 is pretty generous considering the cat food came to almost 4,000 pesos. Think about that. 2 bags of cat food was almost $80 here. So what does that tell you guys? One, we're insane. Thank God for the Patreon, and that's what the money pretty much goes for, is the cat food, and that's insane. That is insane. One of them is the Whiskas kitten, and the other one is just a cheap bag. And that's for some of the outdoor cats. Bella's living out there half the time. I've been trying to drag her back in. She goes right back outside now. So I got one that won't come in the house anymore. But like, picture that, almost 4,000. So I was freaking out to begin with. We don't buy it one little bag at a time. And when George goes over to the family house, he'll take like food for the dogs over there. So we're always there. So, and then it's like, I got to pay a second one. He was like, give me another few hundred more. And I'm like, for what? He says, there was other guys that carried the food. I was like, they never did before, man. So it's like, I got cheap. And I was like, well, if that's what they want to call me. But then I start feeling bad. It's like, Heidi, you just made me spit out my root beer and milk carton. Right? If your ass wasn't tough, you ended up on Unsolved Mysteries or a milk carton. True story. Toughen the fuck up. And that goes for me too. If I die from my own actions. I already toughened it up. I've been sitting here suffering. Heidi could have jumped off a fucking cliff by now and just got it over with. And that's what us people would have did. An honorable warrior in Japan would have done himself in honor and shit. Not ask for money or ask people to help. I had to either bite the bullet or cut my own head off situation. But it's true. Like, buck the fuck up, these kids. I'm gonna call welfare, what do they call that, HPS on you because you called me a name or because you threatened me if I didn't do the dishes. You better go do the motherfucking dishes, bitch. What you talking about? Go ahead and pick that phone up. It's like, no, the new ones are coddling and I would like to talk to you about responsibility. So if you could have a seat here and let's discuss your chores. My mom would have bashed my head in and thought about heaven later situation. What you talking about? Uh, hey, Anthony, good morning. Where are you from? I'm from Canada. How did you meet George? Was he in the military? No, he wasn't. George had moved with his family as a whole. He has a lot of family in California. He lived there for a while. So he moved over a long time ago, 30 plus years ago. We've been here in the Philippines 5 years. So before that, it was 28 something years. He paid into Social Security. He was a legal green card holder. And we decided during the pandemic to move here. So we just met. George was running a business, had a house, a bunch of animals, and just everyday life. Just happened to run into him when we were gassing up. I was heading to Tampa over bridge, and he was gassing up his work vehicles and the things he was doing that day. And he just seemed funny. I seen him, and just he's really friendly. Like he was sitting there talking to the cashier and making jokes, and that was it. I was like, I kind of made a joke. I've never dated an Asian or been around a bunch of Asians before, so I almost thought he was Japanese. And he called a few days later, and we went on a date. And a couple years later, we married. When I was there was a lot of Filipinos and usually mess cooks or supply. They stayed and retired and had it made. Yeah. The US stopped the agreement years ago though. Yeah. I'm hoping for those that didn't hear in the beginning, the insurance did not work out with Phil Health. They'll cover some heart issues, but they will not cover the surgery. We've got the full policy now, so I did not get it. I will not be entering the hospital anytime soon. So we're outright going to use the funds from YouTube and anything incoming as support to save for the surgery. I'm either going to survive or I'm not. I cannot go back to America. And the other part is we're still continually reaching out to Rafi Tulfo, which we know is a 1 in a million shot. And now we've reached out to different senators, but there is a bill that's been in Congress on and off for years. There's whole advocate groups, there's senators pushing for it so we can receive Medicare in the Philippines. There's so many Filipinos returning home. They've helped the US over and over again. They filled the void for military, they filled the void for nursing, teachers, lawyers, and they want to come home with their families. And so it was put back in here in 2026. It was back in the news about 6 months ago. So I'm like, what the hell? Why not? So I sent them my story, and I reached out through email, and the others are through Messenger because that's all I could do. And so that I think my biggest shot is somewhere between Medicare going through and saving the money. So it kind of I think the money would come before Medicare would pass here, but they're saying it's got a real good shot, and it's because if I go home, it could cost 300,000, 400,000 for what I need for everything, the whole treatment, and then if I'm here, it would cost maybe 40,000. The savings of the 35, 40,000 Americans that are here, if they could just use their Medicare for the basics, we're not talking about like medicines or anything. We're talking about just surgeries, basic doctor appointments. Well, even basic doctor appointments are only $20. But if they could just push that through, that would be absolutely great. So my bananas are free. I just go out to the banana plant in the backyard. Yeah, that would be nice too. I wish we had a house where we could just get them. That would be cool. Sugar stick Philly, yeah, it still is sugar. Yeah, there for a long time when I started putting on some weight here, started in the beginning. I was making me and George smoothies, sometimes even twice a day. I'd do one like in the evening, thinking, oh, okay, instead of eating a snack, I'd drop a banana in each one of them and then put a little bit of juice and a bunch of other fruits and this. And then I was putting a protein powder in there too. I think it was the whey or something. And I was like, yeah, let's protein it up. Turn out that shit had a couple thousand calories in it. It's like, what? So that was an epic failure. I must be totally frank. Hello from Cebu. What is going on? Free coconuts also. I just have to get somebody to climb the tree, right? No, that's like George. He gets coconut water fresh for here, and for he takes over to his daughter, and it's like what's up with that? You know what I mean? But because we don't have any around here in this area, so he has to buy it. And by the way, that's going up too. I want to say it's a few dollars a coconut now. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure if we were out in the province, it would not cost that. Checking in. Hey, what's going on, Sperlin? What's going on from La Hita Antique? Like Philippine Antique. When I was stationed there, I would pay people just to climb the trees for coconuts. I don't like coconuts. Hey, I ain't gonna lie. Some things you could actually like buy here really easy. It would definitely save. Like when we have the AC unit cleaned every couple months, it's like $20. And if that was in the United States, because they like hose down the outside unit, it's a full cleaning. I think that's like probably $200 in the US right now. And the same with we had the electrician come in to run the hot water in the downstairs because a lot of units do not have hot water. You have to either just deal with the lukewarm or get the hot. Well, of course, we wanted the hot, and I think it was 20 or $25. Insane. Like we had someone put this wallpaper up. Same thing. Two guys came in. It was $20 that put up. Now that brick crap there was in here when we came in, but we didn't initially have that. I think that's brick behind that. Looks like wood, but it's as you see the other yellow stuff. But yeah, some things are really cheap. Some simps, their simp game is strong. Their pimp hand is strong, but not their brain cells. What is it called when you have people that come to place like the Philippines and sling money and buy a wife, or that can't? Well, I don't know. They call it different things, but the truth is I can appreciate they're doing that because the women in America, not only are they stubborn, too independent attitude, but now this whole called genre of the women that are like now post internet, they think they're all that in a bag of chips now. And I know I got my attitude and shit, but to be in the dating world right now, they expect the guys to have all this money and get him this and that. Then they treat him like shit and play games. I get all the games going on. So it really, the guys coming here are some of them I don't think are like bringing the game. I think they're legitly looking for some, and some there are legit relationships that happen. But I do feel the others are being played, and I think the guys are playing them. A lot of people are like, the Filipinas doing them wrong. I feel some of these expats arriving here are just absolutely wicked, and they use their finances against them. They're mentally and physically abusive. They drink all the time. They oversmoke. There's a lot of crap going on. You know what? The just because the chicken crossed the street doesn't mean that he changed his stripes or something or changed his feathers to the right direction. It's I don't know. It's there's a lot going on here, but I don't know. But they're just trying to buy into a relationship. Anybody that comes to the Philippines, a third world country, I'm not prepared as Cheap Charlie. Hey, hey, hey. Fallen center, a fool and his money are easily parted. I wore a uniform over 30 years. Thank you for serving. I overtipped. I know it's weird. I'm reading. There are two ways of reading this. Sometimes I should just be looking forward here, but I read from the lot here on the right. I wore a uniform for over 30 years. I overtipped in America and I overtip here. Sometimes a girl snatches up some of the money off the table. Yeah. George doesn't stop me because George was the overtipper. If we were at a restaurant, we would leave like $10. I thought that was being generous in America before we left. And this is places like Waffle House. So you have a $30 meal and you're dropping 10, but I've seen George hand him off 50s and stuff. I'm like, yeah, no. So he's just doing extra things. And so it's yeah, so like our generosity runs, but there's like a limit for me. And now it just could be me thinking people are gaming me. You will get a mindset here that you think it, but it could be happening because we didn't have that many guys coming for the dog grooming. It used to only be two people, whether it was the first ones or not, and then all of a sudden there's three or four of them showing up at a time. And I'm like, why are they having so many people now? Like, I know they ain't coming for the 100 peso tip each, but it's hard saying. Maybe, they're training. Maybe they're needing money. I don't know. Top shelf island. The Long Island iced tea is the best, right? Hey, what's going on, Jack Doe? He says, I'm drunk and a gambler. Is that you, Chosen One? Looks like we lost Chosen One a while back. There must have been something he got upset about. Because I've seen him on other channels since. I thought he was just off doing something as he always does in other countries, but I did see him in another live stream a few weeks ago. So we lost Chosen One. Is that you under a new name? I always tip regardless if it is a dinner or my door. Yes, we definitely do. Uh, they deserve it because they're providing a service. Yeah, and they got like cheap things on there, like 20 pesos. The cheapest we ever got was like 50 on getting an individual order. Like if I'm just eating something or George was just eating something, like it wasn't a full dinner and over 1,000 pesos. But now with the gas thing, no matter who shows up, we were doing 100. And I still think that right now with the fees. Like they always charge extra on each item for those deliveries, and there's the delivery fees. So I think the 100 is better than the 20, 40, or 60 they keep offering on there to pay them. And then I'm like, people are like, oh, you're being cheap. That's only like $2 or something. But it is the actual tip here. You don't want to be vulgar. We've discussed people giving out 500. Now, my delivery guy, we do not tip him every time he shows up. Why? Because that is the mail here. We get deliveries from the same guy almost on a daily basis. So at the holidays, we do something for him, but I can't see like we get US mail a few times and you don't get any other mail. The rest of it comes through other companies. And so you don't tip the mail guys, but we still do. Like so we've handed off 500 pesos in the last 2 months, I think twice to them because of the gas increase. Calling Social Security and immigration on Heidi is crazy work. Nothing is going to happen. She's not doing anything wrong. The trolls are the bottom feeders. No, and it is weird. But here's the thing, hon. They've been doing this and saying this for years, even when nothing was being said, even for no reason. And a lot of them are trying to say, oh, well, she's a criminal from, blah, 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 and she deserves it. No, it doesn't matter whether all of that shit is true, they've been saying. I don't deserve any of the treatment of, hey, get her Social Security canceled and get her deported. For what? Something that happened 30 or 40 years ago. I wasn't 40 years ago. Something that happened over 20 years ago. I'm like way out there. Well, they're talking about shit from when I was a kid. But anything that's happened does not warrant their behavior. They're not they're trying to be like police or like they're policing somebody. They don't give a crap about the guys molesting kids here, the guys that are abusing. It's clearly on their YouTube channels what's going on, and it's clearly being done in public. But I don't see them trying to enforce any of that. So let's pick on Heidi, or let's bully Heidi, or let's just troll. But it's never going to happen. I'm very confident in my Social Security and what I'm getting it for and my status here. Immigration is aware of everything. So, and they're not going to throw me out. If I can't get on a plane per my doctors, they can't deport me. And they sure the hell won't be holding me up long in jail. So they're just not. So it's funny how they keep saying, and I haven't. We've been contacted saying there's a bunch of new videos out the last 48 hours, but I'm sorry, we're not going to keep going to these channels. We're not going to keep we do not listen, but we've read the comments and we've actually seen the thumbnails. Yeah, because some of them are so far defamation that I'm like, yeah. So we've hit a few channels in the last few years because they're literally giving out photos of my ID, and it's like, and they've given out photos of my house and an address, and I'm like, yeah, that's got to come down. There is a limit. And so that's the only time oh, she reacted. Well, hell yeah, they were giving out my daughter's address too. They were giving out everything. These are people, part of them were in America and part of them were here. But they're always toxic expats. These are not Filipinos doing this. George wanted late, of course. Yeah, he was funny. Right? I could go for some donuts, right? Who wouldn't? Heidi, were you in the military? The answer is no. And I've been to Subic Bay, Olongapo, 81 to 82, 83 abroad, USS Kansas. No, in 1980, I was around 9 years old. So, and 86 would have put me at about 14 or 15. So, no, I was still in high school and still a kid. Your love story should be on the Hallmark channel, right? Yeah, George could be played by Brad Pitt, or maybe we could use George Clooney for George, and Angelina Jolie could play my part, right? If Trump signs into law that all foreigners living abroad would be covered under Medicaid, would you be no? Sorry, you guys know how I feel. What he has done as a president is absolutely just crazy. From how much money he's made under his presidency to the contracts being given to his kids, down to all the programs that he's canceled, the war that he started, him not taking risks. There's a lot of things I don't like about it, but no, I would never sit there and get on board. And it's not Medicaid, it's Medicare, and it is only going to be certain countries. Philippines is one of them. And so they're going to allot it in like five, I forgot, was it 5 or 12 countries? It's not going to be everywhere. It's only going to be certain countries, and the Philippines is one of them, but of course not. Whatever happens in Congress happens in Congress, but just because something is passed doesn't mean I approve and will ever get on board with that. So, sorry. If people want to follow Trump, that's always their beliefs. And I don't feel any different about the individual person. I don't like the actions. There was a line that he crossed. Well, he crossed it a long time ago, but recently there's been a bunch. And so I can no longer stay silent like George, like, yeah, stay out of the politic thing. And I try to. And so what each person believes is on them, because there's good and bad in everybody. And so, but yeah, I'm just not going to get on board and say, yeah, everything else is okay. No, the government is being plundered. Some of the things being said recently are just absolutely insane. And it's coming from him at his sites and stuff. Like, he wants to leave the UFC cage up afterwards as a monument. He's thinking about leaving it up like the Statue of Liberty. That came from his mouth. That is insane. He has torn up the White House. That is the people's place. So I'm not wrong in that thinking either. And we're a laughing stock. The whole country is being plundered, but not that it hasn't been from other presidents. He's just very obvious, and he doesn't care who's seeing him do it. That's the problem I have now. Hey, what's going on, Lorenzo? What is going on? Maria, good morning. Yes, thank you for your service. I served in the U.S. Marine Corps during Afghanistan and Iraq. My sister was in the Army during those years. She is my older sister. Everybody talking. Hey, good morning, Bill. Good morning. Good morning. Oddly enough, Western women will put someone down for going to Asia to find a woman saying that she can't hack an American woman. Of course, don't want to hack their attitude and everything else. Well, the Filipina P a while back did a video, and she wasn't wrong about saying the things about American women. I mean, I'm pretty much all the above. I've got attitude. I went through things. But the difference is I also like men when they take responsibility and charge. If I and I have sat at home and done the whole wife thing. I do bring George his food. Well, now with me being sick the last few months, it's been hard. But I was the one that was cooking and bringing drinks and stuff to my husband. I was submissive enough, but I was still in the mind frame of being raised by my grandmother and my mom that was used to doing this. But the new generation seems to be just like out there. It's the new dating generation that's crazy. But I see why men come here. But I also see right through 'em when they come here and they mistreat the women and that they're thinking that that it's pretty much you get what like you attract situation. Like if you're putting out something in the universe, it's going to come back to you on that manner. Like the guys, like a lot of them will end up with a bad bar girl or something, but they might have went in about it all wrong. And can a bar girl be saved? Honestly, yes. I think that, the women that are doing that, I don't dislike them. I know they had to do it for money. Now, if they're in there doing it for drugs, it's something totally different, but why are they on drugs? I try to look into every situation of why it all happened. But yeah, you're not wrong. The Western women, but honestly, there are some bad American men. Some won't work at all. Some are mentally broke down. Some of them, are into their drinking. But you should try to find a way to help or support in this. But I guess there's limits to like the American women and the American men. You can't stay forever either. But yeah, I mean, there's good and bad in America as far as the dating, the females and the males. But now, post internet, it's just crazy out there. Everybody saying hi. Bill is in the house. I agree, but I doubt it will ever happen. Coding. Now, here's the thing. They're saying that it will be a pilot program for a while. There is a possibility. It's not going to be every hospital. The coding will not be impossible. They listed the Makati medicals. There are only certain hospitals you're going to be able to do it at. Medical Center Clark is one that's already prepared and has the coding. And if that's what you're talking about, and so is God, I can never remember the one. George always corrects me on it. What is the one in Manila that's the American standard? St. Luke's, St. Joseph? I think it's St. Luke's. There's like five or six of them they're talking about. So it would only be certain countries, and here it would specifically be certain ones. And Clark Medical is less than a few miles from here. That would just be either a miracle's going to happen or it's not. That's where I told George, I said, either I'm toast or one of these things, either Rafi or that or getting the money. And I tell you what, it's a tight race. It's a tight race somewhere between getting the money and Rafi because the bill, well, maybe the bill's in the race for that, but at least I have options and at least I have the basic funds to live until then. Oh, you guys, I just seen Beignet. See Beignet, she's the little, you know what, girl, you better not be pregnant. I'm telling you, she's not big enough to be fixed, but at 4 months, I think they want her to be like 6 months to fix her. And the same with him. He's now just turning 6 months. And I caught him biting on the back of her neck while she was eating the other day. And I'm like, oh, you guys better not. So George's like, oh, we'll have a bunch of little Siamese kitties. I said, no. Hey, what's going on, Laura? Hey, hi to mom. Thanks. When I went to the bank yesterday, I thought about wearing this. My wigs up to now have mostly just been like I was going to wear my curly one that looks like Shirley Temple, and then I was going to wear like this one yesterday to the bank. I was oh hell no, it's too hot out there, and I said I'm not hiding, I'm not embarrassed. I said if I'm going to be embarrassed, it's going to be due to other things. My size or anything else. I don't even dress proper anymore. I just wear a pair of like jogging like pants and certain shirts go with it. I'm not even dressing up anymore. And it's like, yeah, I'm not wearing a wig. Just said, who am I trying to show off for? And me and George started laughing. He says, yeah. He says, if it's comfortable, just do it. That was the whole point of the haircut is it was falling out, getting tangled up and hurting on a daily basis. So I'm like, yeah, it's hot out there. They're saying hi and Raymond. Good morning, wonderful people. Good morning. Good morning. I have created my own troll account. Oh, sweet. Sweet. The bill that might allow you to use Medicare there is called, there it is, the Philippine Medicare Portable Act. Yeah, let me see. Looking to see the name of. Lander sending something. Rafi. Yeah, we send something to Rafi on a daily basis, but unless George goes spend a day or two over there, it's not going to happen. And I can't stay like a day or two without him. I just could not handle running this household or being alone with as sick as I am. So I contacted a place, and this will tell you where we're at because I was told to. So I'm not contacting Republicans. I guess I can, but I contacted the Democrats abroad. I guess they're really pushing the bill. So when I looked up the information, there is Congressman James Moylan is one of them, and the other one was a female. It was one that's in Florida. Had to be where I actually live. Also, US Medicare Inc. was the other ones. So they're a US Medicare from the Philippines. They're an organization, nonprofit. There's like a whole group of people in this office that are fighting for this. So I think I have a better chance with this bill passing that was reintroduced a few months ago than possibly seeing Rafi. It's like a 1 in a million chance. Like somebody said, it is true. There's a lot of other sick people, although I think the expat thing and me being sick puts me up there. Not that I'm any better, it just means that, like George says, he's all about the money and appearance and views. And they do come here. So people are like, well, how do you expect to go there? Well, I guess if I have to make a direct trip in and go sit in a chair quickly, then I can make it there. It's going to be rough, but he's also sent people, like George said, here to Angelus before. Oh, you're going to be nice. I don't want you to be nice. No, no, no. Why don't you give your mom an account and let her go at it? Say, hey, yeah, doxing people on the internet. Yeah, is serious. Yeah, a lot of people are regulars and some other people that have, I think the accounts were just made to contact me, or like, you really need to go and report it to the cyber crimes. And it's like, why? They're not, I don't, for me, it would just be one other issue, and I'm just not. And so it's just part, I wouldn't say it's part of the game, but it is. And for me to do that would just, it means in a sense they win even further because that's kind of what they're wanting. They're wanting the reaction is one thing, but to go and step forward and, it's just like they'll just sit on the other side laughing. And so there'll be no consequences in the end. It's just going to tie up time and money. And I'm not going to spend a dime trying to chase idiots. So you can't talk to stupid and you'll never wake them up. And I noticed several of these channels cover like 10 different people. So I'm not special and I'm not going to, it's not worth it. But when they do put out the information, we have that video pulled. So that's on. I mean, I know there's others out there that have not been removed, and why they won't remove it is unreal. So YouTube is a real messed up thing. It really is. They'll pull down a video on a big YouTuber that had nothing in it, and that guy that helps expats find their Filipino children here, and they bring families together. I think it's the Blair Slog or something like that. They hit him recently and said there was bullying and other things. I said, really? And I had seen that video, and I'm like, how was he bullying and cyber this? And they put all kinds of shit on him. They removed his video, and I'm like, that is bullshit. That is somebody hating. Oh, we had people in the beginning, left and right. They still do. They try to report our stuff, and you know it uh, because it turns it from like payment to non-payment. So they try to take away the money for it, and then you fight it and tell them no, take another look, and then they actually turn it back on. So it's like, wow, you guys reported it for this, and that. Oh, okay. There you go, Tony. What's going on, Tony? Tony. Wonder if Canada will have. Yes, Canada is one of them. Thank you for mentioning that. Canada is one of them that can use the Medicare. It's not going to be Medicaid. It's Medicare. Medicaid is with each state. Here's the thing: people don't realize Medicare and Medicaid go hand in hand when somebody is low income. Like my Social Security is under 2,200 a month. So with the bills I had in America, if you want the supplement, you can get a supplement insurance if you qualify. I did, but then you're applying for Medicare through the state. It pays the supplement and it pays the 180 or something, 184. The problem is once I left America, you can't, it's the same with regular Social Security, the low income one. You can't get those programs anymore. Some still do because they lie and tell them that they're still in America. Like they keep getting their mail at a family member's house and they get that still paid for, which is highly illegal because the program these guys are living here. If you leave and you're here for a few months, you're living here, and some of them even have permanent residency and they're still doing this. Their bankings are there. They're still collecting this supplement through their states and everything. And so what they're saying now is Trump is having a revamp of Medicaid in January. You can look it up, and people are going to have to start working for that too, up to the age of 65 or something. So they're going to send the old people out to volunteer just to get certain, it's like crazy what's been going on over there. But yeah, it's Medicare, and it is one of the states. I think Mexico is another one. I wish. That would solve a lot of expats' problems. A lot of them have the income every month and some savings. What little savings we had dwindled the last few months and dwindled right up to that point. And it's like, yeah, that's what's really wiping people out. As I'm to understand, Ace Bachelor said he's out about he's 15 or 16,000 US dollars for the last two surgeries of his son. I was surprised, being he's not married to the mother, that they didn't use Phil Health for that because they're not married. But I don't know if it's because his name is on the birth certificate and it shows they're applying for the American citizenship. That might have messed the insurance up. Maybe children do not qualify that are owned by expats. He is a cute baby. You should look into who's paying for renovations and not coming out of taxpayers. Ah, which ones? The UFC cage, the ballroom that they are asking, and that's massively confusing right now. Is that what you're talking about? It's not coming out of the taxpayers. Well, I didn't say that, but the it's supposed to be UFC, so I didn't say who was paying for it. He just wants to leave it up. That's what I was saying earlier. But the ballroom, he's officially wanting the money from the taxpayers. It went from he had the money to he wants the taxpayers. So unless I'm totally missing it on that, I voted for him and went off about the UFC cage lawn. That's disrespectful. It's like a circus. Yeah, it looks really crazy out there. And I don't mind being a little hillbilly. I lived in the Ozarks. I love country people. I don't like mind being a little twang twang on the front porch. But that was insane, the size of that. I don't think they're that big inside of the facilities when they're running those things. It is huge. And then he's talking about leaving it up. Now, like I said, I don't want to get too far into that because like I said, there's a lot of good the president has done, not doubting that. And all presidents have done some messed up shit, Democrat or Republican, but this one's just getting to be insane. The whole situation of the entire cabinet, just not him. And they're all backbiting now, and the other ones are turning on each other, and it's just crazy. It's just insane. What is your astrological sign? I am Cancer, and I am every bit of Cancer. But I am on the cusp of that mean one because of my birthday. So I'm that mean lion or something because there is a point where I'm just absolutely vicious. But I was born into the last few hours. They said I'm there on the line. So there, George is like, yeah, you do act like that. He goes, I thought you were. And I said, no, I'm Cancer. And so is George. But I was born during them last few hours on that last day. It could be just where it is. And when did you start having health problems? Okay, well, before I left in my disability, I have neurological issues and was seeing a neurologist and other medical specialists. When I was a kid, I had a severe high fever and an illness that medically broke me down. I had to go to special schools. I had to learn to do things all over again, starting at about the late age of 3 and 4. And so it is mental, medical, neurological issues. And then I developed over the years and a few years, well, about a year or so, year and a half before I left, found out I had lupus. And the lupus seemed to be under control and brand new. It explained why the muscle pain and other issues. I've had like gallbladder. So everybody has some sort of issue. And then I came here. And so I was dealing with, I've got some skin cancer on my face. And then the other part of it is the heart condition. So on and off, I would say during the last 2 years, I thought a lot of this was just the lupus. So I was seeing the lupus specialist. I was just seeing a regular doctor because, like, for our regulars, they know that during a live, I'll say, man, I'm just tired through the afternoon. I had to, and that was about a year ago. So in other words, in January, I started having severe heart issues. But that from my birthday on up to December, I was always saying, oh, it feels like I got COVID again. And I said that all the time. No heart issue. Like I didn't have any pain, didn't have any severe shortness of breath, just tired. It is the first sign. And then in January, I went because I could no longer lay flat. I could not breathe. It felt like I was having a heart attack. And when I went in, they ran the blood work and they did a scan of my heart. And they said that I have congestive heart failure, that it's weak, coronary artery disease, and that because of my lupus and how sick I am, I had no ability to go home at all. And so I've been seeing several specialists since January. And so I have the good days and bad days. So my severe ones, January. So I know that's a long way around it, but January. And I have not been able to leave. That was going to be my plan. There was no signs. It just hit us all at once. Like literally, it just felt like my chest was caving in and I had pneumonia like symptoms in January. And it just went from there. There were times that I was talking on air where it just was really bad. Like right now, it feels like pneumonia. My chest is burning, it's tight, and I'm on oxygen right now. So now I'm on different lung medicines, and with my lupus, it makes it difficult. My body is swollen, and I am filled with fluids. We can't do an angiogram to place stents or to have open heart surgery, but I don't have the money either. So we're saving for this. So I'm either going to live or die. And I was told in January that I could die any day up to about 6 months. So it's because I have no blood running through my heart. So it's a real deal. And yeah. Oh, does she? I'm gonna come there and beat you up, and I'm gonna beat them cats up too. Yes, Cancer. What is the other sign, guys? It's like right on the cusp, the mean ones. They said that I'm like mean like that, but shit. Hey, but I didn't end up on Unsolved Mysteries. I'm gonna tell you that mystery. UFC cage White House grounds for good. He was comparing that damn is it not the Lincoln Memorial? They removed him from the Kennedy Center. Now he wants his stuff put on other buildings now. But that pond or that oversized pond, he was comparing the heights to other buildings and shit. And I'm like, why is he doing that? He needs a vacation. My wife is a good Western woman. Yeah, George will say that about me most of the time. I don't think so. He could just be a new person. It could be a troll trying to get me to repeat my stories because that's what they say is I'm inconsistent, that I'm lying about my medical and that I'm like, who would be this elaborate? I don't know. But it's a delusional thing for the real trolls that continue to say about me being such a criminal and so illegal here and so broke. We have the basic funds, and there's nothing wrong with us raising what we're doing through our channel, or if people want to help, or making people aware that, hey, if you get to my point, you're screwed. And that's pretty much the word we've been spreading for real. But they're never going to believe it anyways. And I was hoping to enter the hospital in the next few days before Laura. I don't know if he was there. I can't get Phil Health. They will not cover the procedures. They'll cover other heart things. Like we got to see the actual, what they call contract, or the bill that has breakdown. They won't cover that part at all. So we can't. We can't unless we get closer. And I don't even want to enter with 20,000. Why? Because this could go way over 20,000. So I told George that I'm just going to take every day at a time. Any funds we have in is going into the medical up to end of life care. Oh my God. She says that just jumping straight to it because she doesn't want to do anything. So she's just waiting. And it's not true. I've been taking care of myself, cutting back on things. I rest most of the day because George is here doing things. And on a day to day basis, if it wasn't for me, like they started new meds in January, it doesn't mean that I'm not less sick. It's probably what's keeping me alive. Like I went on a Nestro and a heavier blood thinner, and I'm on a, what do they call that? A calcium channel blocker. I'm on a what do they call them, plaque pills or something. There's a bunch of them I'm on now. I was just telling you guys the other day I'm on a ton of pills every time, 3 times a day, 3 different water pills. And the more I talk to my heart doctor about it, he's like, "Yeah, you're supposed to be in the hospital." I was like, "Yeah, I get it. When you could pay the bill, dude." Yeah, St. Luke's. Yeah. Nope, that's the imposter. Gonna still treat you bad whether you real or not, man. Gonna treat you like family. St. Luke's, Makati, yeah, Medical Center, Ortega's. Yeah, so they're gonna use those, and those are set up for the coding. Right? And so the deal is if I was only here for 30 days, maybe 60, the supplement that the state of Florida gave to help with my medical bills, and that a lot of people on Social Security have, they would let me go use St. Luke's as an emergency. But I canceled that a long time ago. I was not going to not tell the Philippines and the embassy and Social Security that I'm here. They know I'm here. So I've showed you guys my mail and everything. And I have a bank account here with my Social Security and everything. Why? Because I've seen a lot of guys here lately ranting and raving and ranting that their cards got shut down. When we had the card to the bank in America for my Social Security, it was a hot mess. We lost our card 3 times through transactions. They said it was fraud. And they kept cutting us off. During the pandemic, we had to get a large loan from George's brother, and he didn't even hesitate. We needed our entire month's salary, like, to pay for the month, because we had to have family in America send us the card. They didn't even want to send it. We had it sent once, it got lost. 2, 3 weeks went by. And a lot of guys have been through this. Geo has covered this. There's a guy now that watches us on Facebook. He's being called a thief, and he had to report fraud, and they shut his shit down. He hasn't had his money for weeks. He's down to nothing. He goes, "I don't want to become homeless." That's exactly what's going to happen to him, because they're not going to fix it. He has to have somebody back in America that will have it sent to their American address so they'll trust it's happening. And then they're going to have to send it to him through FedEx. If they don't do that, he's screwed, or he has to physically go back. If it gets that bad, you're screwed. So we had that stopped a while back, and I've had my own account here for a while. I wasn't even playing around because I had no intention except for medical to go back. And then, of course, I'm locked here. He better not be a troll because I thanked him for his service. Get him, Tio. Ah, ah. Laura, are you going to be Glinda from the Oz? I always talk about dropping a house on somebody. So I'm going to drop a house on you, George. You better get moving, boy. He's like, what do you mean? I said, I'm talking about the Oz. Are you a good witch? Right? I guess I do. I don't have to like him either. I don't have to like him either. But I guess they can add me. Add me to that list. If people don't agree with Trump, he either destroys them or you go on that list. So just reading through your guys' thing. Ah, Lorenz, what is your favorite donut? It says my troll account, right? Don't know. Any donut would be the answer. So there you go. I wish I could right now. Two of the medicines I'm on is totally killed sugar. Closest thing I've got here are some cough drops. But I think it is. I'm trying to think. One of them is the calcium channel blocker. Like two of the meds have absolutely killed sugar for me. The soonest I had something really sweet was February when we got those donuts, though. I wish. Sure, Lorenzo, you could be a moderator. Let's see. Not. Moderators, is that a brand new account? Hey, comments are comments. I'm going to leave you in there. So there's limits in there, but here's the thing, you might have already been blocked, but I can't see that directly on this account. I have to should have opened up my phone a while back, but that's okay. I mean, the donut comment shows that you're a troll because our regulars and somebody just viewing from other channels wouldn't be coming in here. So why don't you say who you really are? Man up, because it's not a female expat and it's not a female doing it, and it's not a female Filipino. I promise you that. This is another YouTuber or the people that have been running their mouths. Or just an extra troll, I guess. There's always a possibility. But being in this game for longer than most, it's pretty much what it is. So. uh, Let's see. Hey, Izzy and Chris is in the house. I can see that. All right, I'm a bit rock and roll. Okay, right? Rob, that's true. Medicare pays 80%, Medicaid pays 20. So yeah. So it does, and they supplement the supplements. Like if you get one of those supplement things, they're willing to send you extra band-aids and extra medical items each month. They were paying for cab rides for people. They pay a lot of extra stuff, plus they pay your actual Medicare for the month because you're not making like 4 or 5, 6 thousand a month. Because if you make too much money, you don't qualify for the Medicare side. So, but yeah, pretty sure they're going to make those people, according to them, they're going to be making a lot of people go work for this stuff. And I'm like, is that even possible? So, US insurance law sucks too. I never could cover my kids on life insurance because they lived in different states. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah. He just completely destroyed the people's house. Yeah, it just looks, it's just bad. That's where I highly was flipping out, is when he started tearing all that up. I was like, ah. And rename the Kennedy Center. That was very painful for me too. I'm sorry. That was so disrespectful. I don't care. There's a whole reason Kennedy isn't around anymore. And that is bad. The whole thing is just insane. It's like all kinds of shit is starting to come out. Oh, okay. Lorenzia or Maria is just saying there are 12 houses. Yeah, your birth is your sun sign, and the other houses are all the planets where are at your birth. Yeah. Yeah, you just be quiet, second wind. I see you talking about you have no issues. You got issues, all right. You. My late wife was a Cancer born in July 22nd. Cancer women are very close to their family members and love to cook. Yeah, they usually are family people, most no doubt. So I thought that Anthony was a possible troll. People usually do not ask signs, men, but I do, but thought it was a troll. This is Laura on my troll account. Oh, so you're saying that is you, Laura? That is your troll account. Okay. Oh shit. Gotta love it. My granddaughter is Cancer, said Maria. It was probably Leo. Yeah. Did I say the tiger or something? Yeah, it's Leo. Whatever's the last one, almost at the end of Cancer, I hit that sucker. And so I forgot what it is, but George goes, "That's what I thought you were," or something. I said, "No, I'm like fire and ice, man. George is fire and ice." As soon as he is out of the White House, those cages are coming down. Everything's going to drop down. It's, I can't even begin to understand that situation. Sometimes I think we're in a total nightmare because it's not an alleged anymore that he's not in the files, or there's video proofs, or that there's any of that, or how he's made so much money and how he's manipulated the stocks and how many programs he's canceled and how he's enriching his family, and the 1776 on the situation of the taxes and the riot funds and the riots. It's just getting out of control. And I'm just telling you, it's not only can a blind man see it, but the whole world sees it. It's just not one country, it's every country. And now, what are the ratings against them? And don't say it's just the news people reporting it. No, like 70% of the country cannot stand them anymore. And that is a very, very high rating. And that's not even an if. When somebody says something about him, he kills them news stations now, or the newspapers, or he threatens to sue. This is like a very immature act, 100%. So anybody who criticizes or does their job is being fired. And that, again, it shows what's going on, and that's what I can't stand about them. And the other Democrats are being paid off. Israel is paying everything off. They've been talking nothing but Israel. And did they really join the Israel and U.S. military situation, or was that all lies? Now that I cannot say, but it's been all over the news too in the outlets. There's all kinds of stuff like Marco Rubio and that guy in Florida, the governor or something. One of them was talking about you're either with Israel or you're not. And I'm like, why is there so much talk about Israel these days? And why are we giving them everything? You guys aren't outraged about that? Not outraged the president didn't put his hand on the Bible when he was sworn in, and all he does is talk about maybe I am Jewish, and I don't know. There's just something really wrong here. It just, yeah, there's something really off. That's up to each individual. Like I said, there's good and bad in everybody, but there's just a limit where somebody needs to step down. But I think he's going to plunder and pick until the country is drained. And when he leaves, it's going to take 50 years to switch this all back over. And it's just going to be a mess. I would turn the ballroom into a special community center. Yeah, and what about that ballroom? Now he's saying that he wants a hospital underground and it's several levels, and that he needs to protect the White House and America, and he needs the drone ports. And what about all them weird AI photos he's been putting on for the last week? That's insane. Or what about the alien website showing that they're dealing with aliens again, and then it turns out he's talking about foreigners? That was just weird. It continues to be weird, and this is total insanity. He should be locked up. So I don't care who I offend on that. If you're following all that at this point and you're like, yes, 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 it's like, that is not how a president should be running the country. If I did that, you guys would lock me up months ago. If I'd have shown stuff like that, it's so double standard because he's a billionaire and nobody wants to stop him because they don't want to lose their jobs and they're being paid. Guess that's just what's out there. And that's just not my thoughts. This is stuff that is proven. It's out there in front of you, and that's the problem. It's brainwashing 100% right now. Others just want to keep on with their lives. Keep on. That's why, that is part of the reason. Okay, that is part of the reason why people are leaving. Let's see. Izzy, quite interesting you would say this. What do you say to those who donated with the thought of you getting a plane ticket? Okay, well, here's the thing. I never said that from the very beginning. And I made that very clear. Okay, so I told people that I cannot get on a plane from day one, that the doctors have said no, no, and no. So that's total misinformation. If they thought that I was getting on a plane now just to go home, I have plane ticket money. That's just it. Why would I would just leave? We're not that broke. I don't have 20 to 40,000 US dollars. I from the very beginning have said there is absolutely no way I could physically do it. The doctors won't let me do it, and them airlines, even if I lied, are not going to let me on. So there's more than one reason. I can afford to go home. I have somewhere to go. So this is misinformation. So I don't know why this is stated. Maybe you're just asking, but the fact that you said, what do I say to those who donated with the thought that I was getting a plane ticket? Never asked for people to pay for the plane ticket. And I've always been sick from Jump Street to not be leaving. I need medical treatment here or I need Medicare to be passed. Never said I would. I said afterwards I could make it home after probably months of recovery. So it was never in the cards, Izzy. So, and I know you've been on here before. So it's not the first time I think you've been in our live streams, and I believe I've even discussed this here. And sorry if that seems like I'm jumping. I never did. It's a lot of misinformation. Almost everything out there is misinformation. All it is a bunch of old dudes that are bored that also picks on multiple channels, which they say I do too. I don't pick. I give information and tell the truth. They are not telling the truth. So it's just where it is. I never said that ever, not even close. I said, even if I could and lied, it's like, no, I can't. I got fluid leaking out of my legs. I'm shitting myself on a daily basis because of the medicines I'm on. I can't walk more than 20 feet or stand more than a few minutes. I cannot not approach, and I cannot sit up in an airplane even to make it to Guam. And I can afford those tickets. And my kids had already initially offered to pay for even a better ticket so I could like lay down in one of those like pods on the international planes. But it will not get me on there at all. Absolutely not. Or I would go home. I have a major infection and a hole in the back of my leg because I can't heal a bite from 6 weeks ago. I will probably lose my leg or my life just based on this. But there's nothing I can do but just get treated locally for it. So that made me even want to go home quicker, but I can't. So maybe you misunderstood that, but I'm not going to not, be like, hey, I can't go back. So No, I've been updating people. George has been updating. It's where it is. There, Izzy. Maria said came in late. I had not heard this. They do not cover. It seems insurance everywhere looks for a way to deny. So if a hospital codes and you have to spend the night, do they kick you out? Kick you out the day you code? Oh, you talking about like coding is in passing away? I think he was talking about coding is in billing and how to bill America. Uh, Back to yourself there, Laura. Hey, thanks for that account. They're doing all kinds of things with AI, and there's all kinds of things they're doing at the airport. People think they're getting away with stuff. It's like, well, they didn't used to track how long, well, they did. They could know it, but now they'll know if you are on Social Security or you owe child support. They're going through all kinds of shit when people are traveling now. They're in your bank accounts. They know what you spend your money on. It's just getting to be insane. No, they know everything, and that's what people don't realize. You don't think Social Security in America knows what I'm doing right this minute along with the Philippines? It is not the same Philippines it was even 3 years ago here. No, they know. They're not stupid. So, medical peace of mind is what made me go back to the US late last year for some checkups with the VA. Way different care in the US dealing with healthcare in the Philippines as a risk. There are good hospitals here. Ace Bachelor just had his kid's surgery and everything's fine, and he plans to stay here and continue it. And he's even getting his citizenship. There are good enough hospitals here. So I feel that not all hospitals in America are standard. So we'll like agree to disagree situation. You think every hospital is safe in America? That their nursing is fine, that their doctors are fine, and there's not shady shit going on in those hospitals? I told George the moment you enter a hospital, you're dead. My stepmom that I had for God forever, ever since I was like 11, probably even younger, uh, she went into the hospital because she was having some breathing issues at work, and she was still working as a pharmacist. Went in there and she died within 4 days. Nothing else wrong with her before that. I know for a fact, working in the medical field, that the moment you enter there, you become sicker, other problems happen, medicines are given, or they keep you in there. It's all about the money, but it probably is here too. But I do trust certain hospitals here. I would not say all of them are to standard, but it would have to be good enough. But because the insurance covers back in America, then I mean, that would be my biggest reason to return. Getting mail from USA in the Philippines, it does take forever. Anything, it's 2 months sometimes, three. So that's why the first card we had sent for the bank never did arrive ever. So we had to have it FedEx like overnight. And even the overnight, weirdly, was not overnight. I'm going to tell you that they paid for the 1 day service and it still seemed like two, because once they got it here, it's like they took their good old time with it. And it just rolled up a regular guy on a bike. It wasn't a FedEx truck. It wasn't somebody official. It was a guy on a bike with no officiality of being FedEx. It was weird. Weird. Oh, good for you. I'm illegal. I'm illegal. I'm going to turn you in, chump. Hey, Dexter. Should be easy to go cheap in the US with a group, right? Serious location shopping, though, right? Hi, gotcha, Laura. You ain't gonna get paid. I'm gonna send you a cat for payment. When see little Miss Beignet here, or we call her Benny or Ben, you can have one of her kittens. Oh, look at who's here. Oh, what's wrong, honey? Here's the one that was pinned down under the car. Say hi. Hi. You say hi? All right, that is my warning for. Ah, that's because of a delivery today. Ah, there it is. That delivery. But I'm gonna send you. I'm going to send you her. All right, skimming through, turning off making anybody work as able to work if you're able to work case to case basis. Well, those who need to need to. Same with the food stamps, taking away the sugary and junk food items. I agree. I agree on getting most people off of it. But when it comes down to totally disabled or people over, even in my opinion, 60, that is, worked their entire life, I think is insane. So some of them are only getting like $70 and they're wanting them to do 20 hours a week. I'm like, okay. It just got weird, but yeah. I made a troll account. I keep hearing about the trolls on other channels. Yeah, so now you can go in and pick on them. That's what they do. A lot of them that have been talking shit, they've got like 50 accounts. They go through and do these, like George said, they do them in mass amounts with apps. And they go in, and you see most of them are brand new. So they go in saying about the same thing like it's a ton of people. It's how they do it politically. It's how they go in and try to destroy other like political parties, local ones here. They go in after certain people. It's just, they do it in high school when they're like trying to become like, what do you call them? Whatever they do in high school, the competitions. Well, I tell you what, Bookham, why don't you tell me why you're supporting the president and what I'm saying is wrong? So you go ahead and tell me because you're saying TDS, the TDS is making me laugh. Probably is, but it's not derangement. It's the truth. And when the whole world is in the same thought, then I want you to tell me what is so great. I want you to tell me what promise he made that he's kept. That'd be mine to you, and what's making America great and what's making us win. Not because it's just America. Hashtag cancel George, right? Cancel Heidi. Hey, Bill. Looks like you're new. No disrespect to your life and death situation. My question is I'm on SSDI. How do you keep Social Security updated on treatments med? I just keep my medical documents. I don't have to. I don't have to use my medical at all to tell them that. My disability was permanent a long time ago in 2010. And I received the extra letter saying it was beyond permanent. So there's a point where somebody is so disabled that there is no chance for improvement. That's how they determine your Social Security. So I received like a permanent letter a long time ago. So I just keep my receipts for everything, and I have medical records here. I keep them in a folder. If I am ever brought to the Social Security office because of false claims and people are trying to start shit, then I have enough medical records. So, but for the most part, I mean, you'll want to continue your medicines and continue some form of treatment. But then again, there are some people that never do it all, but you don't have to be back in America to maintain that. Cindy says, I have no health insurance in America for many years because I couldn't afford it, but worked all the time. Horrible companies only hire 30 hours. Yeah, there's a lot of issues with working these days. So, Heidi, I have OCD. Can you please fix the fallen P behind you? No, that was meant to be a fallen P. George says it's for pussy, as in the pussy cats, and we got pussy cats falling everywhere in this house. Is it messing with you? There we go. Da da. How's that? Uh, that is showing too the fact that no president is supposed to put himself up on banners, which he has, like on the front of the Congress, Library of Congress, and some of the things he's done. He's not that. You're not supposed to do that. That's called propaganda stuff. And like his granddaughter's in the White House selling T-shirts. That is against the law. But nobody's taking care of the little things. Okay, maybe that is the Trump deranged syndrome, because like nobody else has done it. Okay, maybe that's over the top, but them are the little things that have added up to billions of dollars being plundered. It's insane. Something is wrong. and even his people are waking up. And again, this if people are taking this as a personal attack on them as a Republican, it is not. My grandparents and several family members are, and they have supported Trump. And so it's when things cross the line and he's blatantly doing what he's doing, it's crazy. So you as a person, if you're taking that, you guys are beyond help if you're seeing it that I'm attacking you. If you're accepting everything, then you're blind. I'm sorry. At this point, he is gaslighting so hard, he's got a tank on his back. And there's no stopping him at this point. And the reason for the ballroom, wake up. The reason for that underground thing is it's not to protect him. There's already a facility for him to go to in case there's an emergency. He's doing it to protect himself from you guys in America. He knows that soon as shit hits the fan in November or whatever he's doing now and he can no longer get away with it and his cabinet's breaking apart, they're going to take him down. And when they do, he plans to bunker down in there. So I'm sorry. The man out loud said that he was going to obliviate an entire country. You can't blame Iran from something that happened a long time ago and then pick on him now all of a sudden. There's a lot of places that have done that. It's just the whole thing has been insane, guys. That is just, and the world sees it. That's just not my personal opinion. It's me repeating what's out there. It's insane. He plans to bunker down for quite some time and hide from you guys while he destroys. And he almost pushed that nuclear button recently. And he told the world that. They had to stop his ass. Insane. I just can't be on board with even part of that anymore. Something is wrong. Sorry, I was reading through that and didn't put it up. Very well possible he's hiding his medical issues for sure. There you go. I think he had dementia. Did he move on to that? Well, why is he the best president there, Bookham? Why don't you tell me why? Or somebody tell me why he currently is. Sure, he's passed a few bills that has helped the country, but how come he started a war that's cost so much money when there was no reason to? There's a lot of countries, like Georgia, that have nuclear. He's not stopping them. This is always about money and making money. So I want you to tell me, he said no war, he started war. He said things would get cheap. They didn't get cheap. And you know what you guys forgot about? The Epstein files. And now you guys are forgetting about the tariffs. How about you tell me about those tariffs? Those are still hitting you guys slowly. That's insane. The tariff thing did not help America. It cost you, the regular people, because other countries weren't being hit with tariffs. And he stood up. No, every item coming in cost you more. And now the gas. There, you tell me what he did there, Bookham. I'm sure the guy in the white house. Oh, okay, we already put that one up. True, Anthony. Da, 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 da. Nope, you said that. No, he's not. He's going to go down in history as he wants, and it's exactly what he wants. Hey, Stinky Chinks. Say hello, everybody, Stinky Chinks boy. You tell him why we call you Stinky Chinks? Huh? What do you got your feet up here blocking for? What? Well, say hello. Say hi. Huh? You want to get down? Yeah? Oh, you working out? Work out. Work out. You working out? You a mommy's boy? Huh? Are you a mommy's boy? Yeah, look how big he's grown, guys. This is that little kitten he got me in February. Okay, where was I at? He's not going down for that. He wants to be known as the destroyer. He wants to be known for what he's doing. He never wants anybody to forget his name, period. It's not because he's doing so good. What has he done for America? He is, and if you tell me he's stopping fraud in other states and he's saving money, he's giving all the rest of it to Israel. He put it all into the war, and he's buying things for himself. And now he's going to make you pay for that ballroom on top of it, his new bunker to protect himself from you guys. So it tell me different that that's what the bunker's not. He's already got a bunker. He doesn't need this. So now he's faked all these attempts of assassination. I guarantee there'd be one coming up for the UFC fight for sure. All these have been unproven. Fake. Narcissistic, just bad. And if you guys don't like it, then too bad for you guys that it got into the conversation today. See, Bookham and Panay is just now deflecting when I keep asking about that. Don't forget about personal responsibility of coming to a third world country and not being prepared. Yeah, that was already mentioned. Some of us are, and shit happens. I would prefer Queens Medical in Honolulu. It says the guy Nelson said Guam doesn't even have that great of a healthcare. I mentioned that before. We know a guy in Guam, and it takes forever to get in there. I was told to go to Guam if I could. Well, I can't even get on a plane. Here, down. And the problem is yes, their healthcare is not the greatest there either, and they're limited on how many hospitals and who they can see and how quick. I'd be sitting in a hotel for a while, and we don't have the funds for that. So I might as well be here, even if I could travel. But I hear you. Laura Bookham is not a troll, but he does bring a lot of good points. And George had a word for what he is. If we say something, he will go opposite. But George does that shit to me all the time. So I say you've got that issue too. But it doesn't matter. It wouldn't matter because every time he's proven that there's a good chance he's not even a Trump supporter. So troll, maybe not the type, but he has a lot of good points. Do you have any Grey Poupon? Actually, I do, but it's not really Grey Poupon. It's some generic stuff that they have here. Because I don't, I use more mustard right now because of the condiment types like ketchup. If I make ketchup, it's made with the NutraSweet stuff that I use. That's good. That is non-sugar. So I make my own ketchup to keep the salt out of it because it's just tomatoes and vinegar and a non-sugar in it and some a little bit of honey. Or I've been using mustard products. So as a matter of fact, I do. When I'm not like just putting some wasabi on that shit. So yes, most definitely. Yeah, we have our good times. Good times, good times. I'm retired and that is just too much work. This is me only. It says account in Google. Change my name to FCKY yourself as my Gmail. Right? I forgot what it is. Like I couldn't figure out how people made so many accounts because pretty much it's probably the same 10 people going around circles making all this stuff on us, besides the channels. And it's like we attach a phone number to it. So I told George they only allow so many. And we had like 3 YouTube channels. And so like those emails are attached. So we can't make any additionals without getting a new phone number. And he's like, oh, well, there are apps and some people get burner phones to do it. Like they go way out of their way situation to create these accounts. Oh, it'll go back. Like I said, there was corruption before. There are bad Democrats. There are bad people now in Congress that are Democrats that are just totally corrupted, and we're aware of that. Everybody has been paid off in the U.S. and people call the Philippines totally corrupted. Like George says, it's politics. It no longer changes um, based on what continent they're on. My military is called PT, permanent and total. Gotcha. Yeah, it's just permanent, permanent. I got a letter a long time ago saying, I guess they were always renewing, and some people every 3 years are brought into the Social Security office, and I had never been brought in at all. And then I all of a sudden received a letter, I think in my 10th year, just saying you will no longer be reviewed based on blah, 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 or asked to come in the office. I said, I never was asked to come in the office. And then I got a letter. Yeah, what about, oh, just don't get me going. Don't get me going. Who the hell is going to use a 250 bill? I'm just going to roll up and use a 250 bill. It's the passports with his name and likeness. He had a stroke and lost it. Something is messed up. Yeah, a 200 on a non-dead president. He already did some sort of coins, okay, but your face on a, you're not even a dead president. That's why they call it dead presidents. You're trying to change hundreds of years of history. And did you guys know that they've had funds for this up and coming thing that he's changing from this celebration to his birthday, or he wants most of it on his birthday? That they that even Bush and Obama and a bunch of other presidents, they've been setting funds aside for a while for this. This is something they've been preparing for, and it's just going to be a circus. And this seems to be what was going to happen. But they say it's all being paid from somewhere else. But I don't know, guys. There's something he said that about the ballroom. People, I can't even imagine. What misinformation? Why don't you tell the world what misinformation is? Everything has come that I've said has come out on his Truth Social and is proven. This isn't what you, it's fake news, then it's fake news. Bullshit. No, don't think so. Everything I've said, the president has said himself. This is not fake stuff. This is actually proven stuff that I've been discussing. This isn't allegedly or a possible. The man is saying this himself. That general that said he was going to hit the button came out. So that guy's lying too. That was all lies. No, there's a ton of other stuff. Oh, come on with this exaggeration. Okay. Well, I'm going to stop addressing you on the president stuff. So, because I'm going to wrap this up, and not because of that. It's because delivery is after 9 a.m. this morning. Yes, I make ketchup. I have to do them. There's so much in condiments. And so that is for sure. So thank you for the compliment. Democrats and their woke agenda is anti-white. Say his name. Well, I won't, considering whoever that is, but I'm not aware of that. And that's insane. Democrats and their woken agenda is against the whites. No, I don't think so. It's for the people. That's what America's been about. It's about the people, no matter what color or country they're from. And it seems the current administration has forgotten that, period. So it is what you just exactly said what the Republican Party is. You just said that it doesn't make us woke because we like the people. It does not. That is for sure. Be good, Mr. Man. Be good. I don't know why you're so wound up right now, wanting your attention. I make my own. Yeah, we use horseradish and then the ketchup that we make. Yeah, honey, why are you so needy this morning? Huh? Well, I can't hold you all day. He does this for a long time. Like I can't even put him down. He goes through a whole period. What? Here, say something. Meow. Now you ain't got nothing to say? Huh? Mr. Man. It actually does. But hey, he could be. And if he is supporting his person, I can't blame anybody for supporting what they believe in also. Can't change the mind and but when it starts destroying people or when it starts hurting people a lot, then it changes. It totally changes when the beliefs, not his, I'm talking about the topics that we're talking about changes. All right, guys. I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you for coming in, and I'm glad everybody was here today. And I'm gonna move forward with my day and try to get George up. It is now 9:13 in the morning, and it is Friday. And so I hope everybody has a good weekend, and see you guys in a few more days. Say goodbye, Mr. Man. Huh? You gonna say goodbye? Goodbye, Bookum.